Hey everyone. So you love to build cool stuff, but you're just so over the whole server management nightmare, right? Well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're diving into the blueprint for a blog that's fast, super scalable, and believe it or not, incredibly cheap to run, all on AWS. Let's get into it. First, we'll talk about why serverless is such a game changer. Then, we'll get our hands dirty with static hosting on S3. After that, we'll level up with a CDN for crazy speed, sprinkle in some dynamic magic, and finally, look at what it takes to really go pro. So let's start with the big question. Why on earth would you want to ditch the traditional server? Well, the serverless promise is all about getting rid of a headache that, let's be honest, every single developer knows. I mean, does this sound painfully familiar? You build a great blog, you're excited about it, and then you're stuck paying a monthly bill for a server that's just sitting there, doing nothing most of the time. You've got to worry about security patches, uptime, and what happens if a post goes viral. You're on the hook for all of it. It's a total headache. And this is where the big shift happens. The old way means you're paying a fixed price for a server that might be idle 99% of the time, and if you get a traffic spike, it's on you to scale it. The serverless approach completely flips that on its head. No management, it scales for you automatically, and you only pay for what you actually use. For a small blog, we're talking pennies. Now, let's be real. The term serverless is kind of misleading. Of course there are servers. The magic is they're no longer your problem. AWS takes care of all that messy infrastructure stuff, so you can just focus on the fun part, your code and your content. All right, enough talk, let's get practical. The foundation, the actual home for our serverless blog, is going to be Amazon S3. It's one of the most fundamental and powerful services on AWS. And you're going to love how simple this is. You just create what's called an S3 bucket. Think of it as a folder in the cloud. Drag and drop your site's files into it, unblock public access, and then you just flip one little switch to turn on static website hosting. That's literally it. Your site is live. Okay, lean in for this one, because this is the single step that gets almost everyone. By default, AWS locks everything down for maximum security, which is good. But it means you have to explicitly go in and uncheck that block all public access box to let the world see your site. It's just one click, but it's the click that matters. So our blog is live on the internet. Awesome. But let's take it from a fun little project to a pro-level website. To do that, we're going to bring in a content delivery network, or CDN, called Amazon CloudFront. So what is a CDN? Well, think of it like this. It takes copies of your website and stores them in data centers all around the globe. So when someone in, say, Tokyo visits your blog, they get the files from a server nearby, not from one halfway across the world. The result? A blazing fast site for everyone, everywhere. Oh, and the best part? CloudFront throws in free HTTPS, that little lock icon that makes your site trustworthy. And the setup just ties everything together beautifully. You get a free SSL certificate, you create what's called a CloudFront distribution, and you just tell it, hey, my content lives in that S3 bucket. The very last step is to point your custom domain name to CloudFront. And just like that, all your traffic is now running through this super fast, secure, global network. A static site is great. It's fast, it's cheap, but it can feel a bit limited. What about a contact form or comments? This is where the whole architecture gets really, really cool, thanks to Lambda and API Gateway. Yeah, this is the classic question, isn't it? But can my static site actually do anything? How do you handle stuff like a contact form without having a back-end server running 24/7 just waiting for someone to click a button? Well, the answer is you don't need one. Let me introduce you to AW Lambda. I want you to think of Lambda as a tiny, specialized brain that does one specific job. It's just a little snippet of code, maybe its job is to send an email, and it only wakes up and runs when it's told to. You just give AWS your code, and that's it. It's the heart of our dynamic features. So how does the outside world talk to that little Lambda brain? That's what API Gateway is for. It's the public front door. It gives you a simple URL, and when a request hits that URL, like when someone smashes the submit button on your contact form, it knows exactly what to do. wake up your Lambda function.
So here's how it all fits together, step by step. A user fills out your form. That sends a request to your special API gateway URL. The gateway immediately pokes your Lambda function, which wakes up, runs your code to send you an email, and goes back to sleep. The whole thing happens in milliseconds, and you only pay for that tiny, tiny slice of time. It's brilliant. So, we've built a seriously powerful foundation here. But this isn't just a toy setup. It's a professional-grade one that can scale with you. So let's quickly touch on how you can monitor and automate everything.
This setup really unlocks some pro-level workflows. You can keep an eye on your spending with Cost Explorer and see who's reading your stuff with Google Analytics. But the real game changer here is automating your publishing. You can set up GitHub Actions so that every time you push a new article to your code repository, it automatically deploys to your blog. That is a modern, slick development cycle.
And there you have it. In less time than it takes to watch an episode of your favorite show, we've just walked through the blueprint for a blog that's wicked fast, scales to handle anything you throw at it, and is basically maintenance-free. The server headache? It's solved. For good.
You know, this isn't just a plan for a blog. It's a model for launching any idea you have, quickly and without the usual barriers. You now have the architecture for a truly powerful professional platform, so the only real question left is, what are you going to create with it?